The movie begins someplace in northeastern Syria. An American journalist is wandering the streets and knocking on the doors of the locals. But no one welcomes him as he speaks English and belongs to America. Next, he opens his laptop and starts typing something on it. Meanwhile, suddenly a man named Abu Usman breaks into the room where the American journalist is busy with his laptop. Abu Usman is the leader of a terrorist group, namely the ISC. They arrest the American journalist and find a USB drive and a gun on him. ISC learns that the journalist is a spy who steals information and transports it to American authorities. Abu Usman sits before him and tells him that what America is doing now is wrong. The scene shifts to an American officer who is sitting in his office. He is told via a phone call to check his email. He opens the email and finds a video clip. He sees that 3 men with their faces covered slit the throat of a CIA agent. In the following scene, we see a nurses' hostel in Tikrit, Iraq. The nurses belong to India and Pakistan, 25 Indians and 15 Pakistanis. The nurses get ready to go to the hospital for their training. They get on the bus and leave for the hospital. On the way, the nurses learn of one of their nurse colleagues' engagement and begin celebrating on the bus. Not too much farther, the driver stops the bus, and when nurses ask him why he stopped, he tells them Abu Usman is passing on the road. Meanwhile, an Iraqi government helicopter attacks the convoy of Abu Usman. There is a heavy exchange of fire from both sides. In the attack, Abu Usman gets hit by a bullet. The nurses become very nervous as what is happening unfolds, and they tell the driver to drive the bus to the hospital. Abu Usman's men rush him to the nearest hospital. The nurses also approach the hospital, where they find armed men yelling for doctors. They also kill 2 people in the hospital who show resistance. Usman's men empty the hospital, and the already admitted patients are transferred to another hospital. They also hoist their flag on the hospital's building. They take the mobile phones from all the nurses, and they at least call the authorities. Many news channels air the news that the ISC group has invaded Tikrit city. One of the nurses had a phone with her because she had 2 phones, one of which she gave to Usman's men and the other she kept hidden. The nurse makes a phone call to the Indian Foreign Office, and she informs them that the ISC group has held all the nurses hostage. The scene shifts now to the Ministry of External Affairs in Delhi, where the chief of RAW, named Shenoy, chairs an emergency meeting. Karen, Shenoy's colleague, briefed us during the meeting about the whole incident and what strategies they have to work on. After that, Shenoy flies to CIA headquarters, Langley, USA. He meets with the CIA director to discuss his options for leaving the ISC group. But the CIA chief says to him that they have already planned to destroy the whole city of Tikrit with a big missile. Shenoy asks if they would bombard the hospital if there were American nurses there. The CIA agent says if there were American nurses, they would get them out of the hospital. Shenoy then returns to India, and he discusses how to get the nurses out of the trap of ISC with an external minister and a RAW agent. He told them that the CIA had given them 7 days to evacuate the nurse. After the time is up, America will attack Tikrit city. Shenoy says only one person can deal with this predicament, and that is Tiger, whose actual name is Avinash Singh Rator. People believe that Tiger is dead, but he is still alive. Shenoy instructs his colleague to locate Tiger as soon as possible. In the next scene, we see Tiger hiking with his son Junior in the Austrian Alps. Tiger is collecting wood for household purposes, and his son is playing in the snow. A wolf appears before Junior, and Tiger takes axes in his hands and fights the wolf. A little later, a pack of wolves arrives, and Tiger tells his son to go down to the car. While Tiger deals with the wolves, his son starts to slide down to the car. But 2 of the wolves run after Junior until he hides in a trunk. The tiger runs after the wolves and kills them one by one. Junior and Tiger trap the last wolf in the car. The scene shifts to Tiger's home, where he and Junior are fixing a radio. Tiger's wife, Zoya, can be seen being upset with him. Junior tells Tiger that it is their 8th wedding anniversary tomorrow, and Tiger does not know about it. Tiger then decorates the house before Zoya gets up the next morning. There are romantic moments between Zoya and Tiger. As Tiger and Zoya return home, Junior tells Tiger that guests have to meet him. The guests are Shenoy and Karen, his colleague. They have dinner together, and when Zoya leaves them alone, Shenoy reveals why he has approached Tiger. The Tiger tells them that he already knew 25 Indian nurses were trapped in a hospital in Tikrit. Tiger then shows them his secret room, where he monitors everything. Shenoy asks him to go on a mission to save the Indian nurses, but Tiger gives him a USB and tells him that he is not willing to go on such a mission. Shenoy and Karen leave his house. After they are gone, Zoya tells Tiger that he loves his motherland more than she and Junior. In the next scene, we see Tiger riding a desert motorcycle in a desert Dubai. He goes to the camp of Ra, where he meets Karen. He tells Karen about his team: Rakesh Prasad Chaurasia, a hacker for Ra; Namit Khanna, a bomb disposal specialist; and Azan Akbar, a sniper for Ra. Karen elaborates on how they will make it to Iraq. They will go to Iraq in an oil tanker. He tells them that after they reach Iraq, an Indian spy named Pawan will provide them with guns. Tiger and his team form a line with the other workers. Meanwhile, Tiger sees a bearded man named Amit Bagdawi, who is the second in command to Usman. Another Indian named Fergus works as a manager for the company. Fergus sees Tiger, and he comes to ask him if he is an Indian. A vehicle drops Tiger and his team at their residence. The scene shifts to a hospital, where a nurse is wrapping a bandage around Abu Usman's hand. On the other hand, a nurse decides to flee in one of the ISC cars. Abu Usman tells the nurse about his past life. He tells her he lived his early life in India and later went to the UK to get higher education. He says that after the 9/11 incident, the American government treated him badly. In the meantime, Usman's men bring some Americans to the hospital, and stealthily, the nurse gets into the vehicle. But one of the men finds the nurse in the vehicle, and he kills her in front of the nurses. In the next scene, Tiger and his team are at the company's headquarters, and Fergus sees them. Tiger sends Rakesh to find control for him. He sends Azan to find a suitable place from which he can see everything. Tiger instructs Namit to plant bombs throughout the company compound. Tiger then makes a phone call to Pawan and asks for the map of the hospital and how many men are guarding it. Pawan says to meet tomorrow in the bazaar. Abu Usman meets the prisoner Americans, and he prepares a suicide bomb to blast at the gathering in the bazaar. Tiger goes to the busy bazaar, where he sees some people protesting against ISC. He meets with Pawan and sits at a table with a small boy who is a suicide bomber. Tiger tries to talk to him, but he does not open his mouth. Usman's man is keeping an eye on the child with a sniper. The boy goes towards the gathering, and Tiger keeps seeing him. Before the boy can blow himself up, Tiger takes him away from there. He takes him aside and takes off his suicide jacket while the ISC members rush to the bazaar to find the child. Tiger tells Pawan to take the child away, and he starts to fight the ISC men. Tiger kills the men one by one, and during this time, when Pawan is taking the child to a safe place, ISC men shoot him dead. The ISC men have almost kept Tiger, but Zoya makes her entry, and she takes Tiger and the child away in her car. After that, IC and Ra join hands to rescue their nurses from the trap of ISC. Tiger discusses with both IC and Ra agents. Tiger makes a plan to fake a blast in the oil refinery company, and the blast causes injuries to only him and his team so that the injured workers can be rushed to the hospital, where the ISC agents are holding the nurses hostage. In the hospital, Tiger and his team distract the ISC agents with the help of IC agents to rescue the nurse. They have almost succeeded in making a small blast in the refinery that security sees and attacks. Tiger almost gets shot by the security guard before he inserts the grill machine into his gun pipe. Meanwhile, the blast occurs in the refinery, but this is of a greater magnitude than Tiger and his team had expected. Meanwhile, Bagdawi reaches the spot of the incident, and he gives the order to kill Tiger and his team members. But Fergus walks to Bagdawi and tells him that these are laborers, and such small blasts are not unusual things in a big refinery like this. Fergus pleads with Bagdawi to hand over Tiger and his team members to him, and he will get them killed. Fergus takes them all to the hospital in a vehicle, and on the way, Tiger learns that Fergus is an old Ra agent who has been working for Shenoy in Iraq for the past 9 years. The secret code of Fergus is, he has to eat the pulse made by Tiger. In the following scene, we learn about the mischievous acts of Bagdawi. He makes the young girls his slaves and makes them work for him in his house. He used the girls for nocturnal purposes. Zoya learns about Bagdawi's acts, and he plans to kill him. The next day, Zoya goes to the palace of Bagdawi wearing a black burqa. She commits a mistake, and Bagdawi summons all the girls. Bagdawi notices Zoya, and he brings her to his room for the night. Zoya, who is an IC agent, kills Bagdawi with a knife. She also fights the guards of Bagdawi. Following Baghdadi's death, Abu Usman increases the number of security guards from 25 to 250. It has now become quite difficult for Tiger to rescue the nurses under such heavy security. Tiger then asks for help from a nurse named Porna. He requests that she mix something into the guards' meal that will kill them. She says there is a drug available in the hospital that will make the security guards' stomachs upset. She suggests if they mix the drug into their meal, they will fall ill, and Tiger will have an opportunity to take out the nurses from the hospital. On the other side, Abu Usman comes to the stage and gives a speech to his men. It seems he is planning a huge attack. At night, Tiger and Rakesh go to mix the drug into the meal, and the guards fall ill. The next day, they are hospitalized. Tiger wants all the guards lying on the beds, and for this purpose, the nurses have to administer the guards anesthetic injections. Purna takes the anesthetic injection, and before she can administer it to the guard, Abu Usman tells her to use it first on the Indian. Tiger comes forward to get the injection administered because if anyone else did that, he would faint. This will spill the beans before Abu Usman, who will in turn kill them all. But Abu Usman stops the nurse, and he says Azan should come forward for the injection. After the injection, Azan keeps himself upright, although the drug was affecting him severely. But as Abu Usman goes out, Azan faints on the bed. On the other hand, Zoya and American troops attack the ISC checkpoint, killing many ISC agents. As Abu Usman learns about the attack, he goes to the checkpoint with his men. The American troops stop the attack after receiving an order from the seniors. At the hospital, Tiger seeks an opportunity and walks the nurses to the bus after killing the guards. On the other side, Zoya runs out of bullets, and ISC guards besiege her. Tiger is driving the nurses' bus when he comes across the ISC agents. Next, what he sees is very painful for him. He sees that Abu Usman has tied Zoya in front of the car. Tiger surrenders to Abu Usman, and he fastens both Zoya and Tiger. Abu Usman praises Zoya for her bravery and the way she killed Bagdawi. Tiger yells at Abu Usman and threatens, although he is fastened to the chair. Abu Usman takes Zoya with him and leaves Tiger behind to die after leaving an open gas cylinder. On the other hand, people in Delhi are protesting against ISC. The CIA chief makes a phone call to Shenoy and gives him 30 minutes to evacuate Indian nurses from the city. After the timer runs out, America will launch a missile at the city of Ikrit. Some guards enter the room where Tiger is kept, and Tiger comes out of the smoke and starts killing the ISC agents. On the other side, Abu Usman is busy with American hostages, and he is informed that Tiger is alive. Abu Usman decides to take the American hostages to the hospital. Tiger comes to his teammates. Tiger and his team members find the nurses, and Purna is laced with bombs. In any case, Namit disposes of the bomb and saves her. They emerge from the hospital to find ISC guards encircling the building. Tiger takes a gun and starts firing on the ISC agents while the nurses and other people are running out of the hospital building. Azan and an IC agent named Abrar are also firing from the roof. Abrar gets hit by the bullet and eventually dies, but he saves the life of Azan. Meanwhile, Karen and Furtis drive the oil tanker into the premises of the hospital. They jump out of the tanker, which falls on one side. Tiger takes a rocket launcher and fires it on the oil tanker from the far end. There is a huge blast that leaves many ISC agents dead. Tiger comes inside the building towards the American hostages. He tells his team members to tell the nurses to wear the clothes that the American hostages are wearing. A guard attacks Tiger, but he knocks him down. Next, he sees Zoya fastened to a chair. Tiger hugs Zoya, but Abu Usman appears once more. Abu Usman hits Tiger on the head and puts Zoya in a hole. Abu Usman turns to go away, but Tiger gets up. He turns to face Tiger and attacks him, but Tiger stabs him multiple times instead. Tiger hands Abu Usman to Furtis, who drives Abu Usman out of the hospital. On the other hand, Tiger goes to release Zoya, but in the meantime, an American airstrike begins. Nurses and American hostages have successfully escaped from Ikrit. Furtis kills Abu Usman. Tiger is believed to have been killed in airstrikes. A year later, Tiger calls Shenoy and says happy independence to him. Tiger is seen with his son, Junior. The movie ends there.